Hi, Forgetful Cat here. You are a good person, and I am as well. Like we definitely are. Like we've done good things purely for the sake of others, for sure. Like we've done selfless acts. I mean, a lot of times when we do something good for somebody else, we are getting something in return. We're getting money or status or even just gratitude from that person. So I guess in that sense, there could be some kind of gain for us. But there are other times when we don't get those things. Although I guess even when we don't get those things, we still get companionship or love or social connections. So I guess maybe we do always get something from somebody else when we do good things. Maybe there isn't such a thing as a selfless act. Maybe every act at its core is selfish. This is the debate of altruism versus egoism. Altruism meaning doing something purely for the sake of others, and egoism meaning doing something that ultimately benefits yourself. Madoka Magica deals primarily with this very debate. I'm a 27-year-old male, and it's time to talk about magical girls. Madoka Magica is a show that on the surface is a show just like any other magical girl show. It's cutesy, it's fun, the intro shows all the zany hijinks that Madoka is going to get up to as a magical girl. The outro wouldn't be out of place in a slice of life anime. All the girls are color-coded, and the mascot is a cute bunny rabbit cat with no motivations beyond making the girls into magic users. Now, obviously, spoiler warning for Madoka Magica. If you haven't seen the show, do yourself a favor, don't watch the video if you don't want to get spoiled. There's heavy spoilers. We're going to get into every nitty-gritty aspect of the show, so there will be no spoilers that are unspoiled. The show begins by introducing us to our main protagonist, Madoka, a slightly naive but good-hearted girl who only wants everyone to be happy. She tends to view herself in a demeaning way, feeling she has no talents or skill sets to contribute to society, and she wants very badly to be useful to those around her. Sayaka is her steadfast friend, an equally good-hearted girl who says she doesn't want any wishes for herself, but rather wants others to be better off. She has a friend named Kyosuke who lost the use of his arms and legs in an accident, and she visits him often in the hospital and encourages him. It's clear that Sayaka doesn't put much value in herself, similar to Madoka, and she mentions that they are both too privileged to be able to make full use of their wishes. It's not fair that they got these wishes when other people need them much more. She's definitely thinking of Kyosuke when she says this. However, it's fairly apparent that Sayaka cares about Kyosuke a little bit more strongly than just as a friend. Mami, it feels weird even saying that name, but that's her name, is fully altruistic. She fights for others because her life was saved by her wish. It could be said that she fights out of a feeling of indebtedness to the world for letting her live, which is a sort of egoism in a sense. Because you're doing something in return for something that you got, kind of. Or it may just be that Mami is truly a good person. She is a true altruist. Mami does reveal to Madoka that she doesn't want to be alone. She wants someone to fight alongside, and Madoka, being the good-hearted girl she is, grants this wish. Mami finally has something specific to fight for, aside from a general feeling of righteousness towards the world. She's feeling pretty good. Until she isn't. It seems that maybe this show wasn't a lighthearted magical girl show after all. Homura is a difficult character to understand until later in the show, so we'll leave her full character analysis for a later point in the video, but for now, all we need to know is everything she does is to keep Madoka from becoming a magical girl. She wants to save her from that fate, and will do anything to do so, no matter what consequences befall the others, or even herself. Seen in this light, Homura is the most selfless character in the show, willing to time loop over and over and over again to save Madoka. However, this may not actually be the case, but we'll get into that later. Homura says to Madoka as a warning that even the best intentions can lead to the worst outcomes. This ties directly into Sayaka's story. Sayaka makes her wish to heal Kyosuke, an extremely altruistic act. Kyosuke gets to play his instrument again in front of his family, and Sayaka is shown smiling, happy that he's able to have this moment again. However, Sayaka also struggles against her own perceived uselessness, and she wants Kyosuke to pay attention to her. After all, she was by his side during his recovery, right? Doesn't she deserve his affections in return? No, she did it all out of the goodness of her own heart. It's enough for Kyosuke to be happy. But yet, surely she can have something for herself, right? We see this conflict play out in Sayaka's arc, the struggle of altruism versus egoism. Sayaka is my favorite character in the show because we see that she has mixed motivations, but she knows she has to struggle against them. We see nuance in every action she takes. I find it very interesting that Sayaka's wish was to heal Kyosuke's hands, but not his legs. This could have just been an oversight on Sayaka's part, or it may have been a subconscious wish for Kyosuke to still have to rely on her as he recovers his ability to walk. I may be reading into it a bit too deeply there, but it's a possibility. Sayaka is a fascinating character, and some of her mannerisms align with Shiro from Fate. There I am, mentioning Fate for the second time in as many videos. I have a problem. She wants to be a hero of justice, someone who can sacrifice herself for others, and someone who has a low opinion of herself because of the struggles she has in her own mind. And in steps Kyoko, an extreme example of an egoist, someone who does everything for herself. She says magic should only be used for one's own benefit. There is absolutely no point in helping others. She calls out Sayaka for her wish. She sees the selfishness that Sayaka tries to hide within herself. Kyoko tried the same thing in the past that Sayaka is trying now, making a wish for someone else. Kyoko has the darkest backstory by far, and it makes sense that she would view altruism as useless, since it ended so badly for her when she tried to help her dad, and when her dad tried to live for his congregation, only to be broken when he realized they didn't actually care about what he preached. Kyoko views herself as special, and as a result, she lives only for herself now. Sayaka views herself as special too, but for her this inspires a sense of duty to help those who aren't as gifted. Enter Hitomi, a plot device, friend of the main characters who steals Kyosuke from under Sayaka's nose.
Boo! You stink!
To be fair, Sayaka didn't talk to Kyosuke after making her wish. The reasoning the show gives for this is that Sayaka views herself as a zombie now, since her soul is contained within the gem instead of her body. However, I think the reasoning goes a lot deeper than this. I believe that Sayaka couldn't talk to Kyosuke, because she knows that if she does this, she is going against her belief and image of herself as a selfless saint. If she talks to Kyosuke, it would feel like she's fishing for gratitude or for him to return her affections. Her ideal that her motivations are purely altruistic, that she wants nothing in return, is so important to her that she cannot pursue her feelings for Kyosuke. It would be like she's admitting that she's not a fully altruistic person, that she has some egoism within her. And so Hitomi and Kyosuke get together, and this means that the boy that Sayaka gave everything for is lost to her. Sayaka is filled with so much grief and guilt that she lashes out at everyone. Homura talks to Sayaka, trying to get her to stop this, but Homura's only motivation is, as always, Madoka's safety. Sayaka sees through this, and this stabs at her inferiority. Sayaka sees through this, and this stabs at her inferiority complex even more. This ends in Sayaka lashing out even at Madoka, who's just trying to help. And as Sayaka runs through the rain, she instantly regrets yelling at Madoka, and this adds yet another action to the pile of guilt that Sayaka has inside her. On the train, even Sayaka's last reason for living is called into question, when the guys talking are revealed to be scum. Sayaka was going to try to uphold her ideal of altruism by continuing to be a magical girl out of a sense of justice to the general population. But if even that population is filled with scum like this, what's the point? And so, as Sayaka transforms into a witch, filled with a knot of self-hatred, guilt, and negative emotions, her witch form shows music notes, the last thing of beauty that she held on to from the boy she loved. But it doesn't end there. Kyoko comes back, this time to save Sayaka, not only because of their similarities, but also because Sayaka's ideal of altruism has inspired Kyoko and reminded her of how she used to feel before everything went so wrong in her life. Magical girls are supposed to be paragons of altruism, doing everything for the sake of others, and Kyoko remembers that now. This culminates in an absolutely beautiful fight where Kyouko faces off against Sayaka's witch form, and she sacrifices herself to save Sayaka from herself. The most selfish, egoistic character becomes the most empathetic in the end, feeling what Sayaka feels, and the credits for episode 9 show Kyouko rescuing Sayaka from the depths of despair. They are both balanced out by each other, and Kyouko dies altruistically. Wait a second, we're not even halfway done with the video. Can we stop the credits, please? Now this whole plot, up to now, is merely a subplot, if you can believe it, that feeds into the larger story of Madoka and Homura. Before we get into that, however, we have to address the elephant, or cat bunny thing, in the room. Kyubey. I think Kyubey is legitimately one of the best anime villains ever created. This smug motherfucker has some of the most ominous shots throughout the show, and I'm always glued to the screen when he's speaking. Kyubey is the ultimate tempter. He knows just what to say to get what he wants, and he knows what to omit. He never lies, but he doesn't always tell the whole truth. And you want to talk about his motivation? Ultimately, his aim is to save the entire universe. His entire species, the incubators, are aiming to stop the heat death of the universe through harvesting the emotions of human girls. The price of a few magical girls' lives is nothing compared to the lives of everyone in the universe. This ideal is known as utilitarianism, with the aim being the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest amount of people, at the expense of a few. Urobuchi, the author of this show, loves to deal with this philosophical concept. He has another entire show, Pyscho Pass, dealing with the utilitarian civilization. The tricky part of utilitarianism is that it seems right, if a little cold and detached, maybe. What Kyubey says is technically correct. It makes sense for our main characters to be sacrificed for the sake of the greater good, but the show does a great job of putting the audience in the mindset that this doesn't matter. We've never seen these alien races that Kyubey talks about. What do they matter? And are we just supposed to accept blindly that the incubators thought up the best solution to save the universe? During the scene where Kyubey explains all this to Madoka, there are a lot of chairs with stuffed animals facing her bed, and it's been theorized that these are the previous magical girls who have died throughout history, looking on to see Madoka's answer to Kyubey. Was their sacrifice worth it? Let's go over Madoka again. Good-hearted girl with a low opinion of herself that is searching for a way to live her life that will help others. Sounds a lot like Sayaka, doesn't it? The difference is that Madoka doesn't really have darker motivations. She really is just good-hearted. She is so good-hearted, in fact, that the main conflict of the show is her trying to sacrifice herself to become a magical girl, and Homura continually stopping her from doing this. Homura emphasizes the negative parts of being a magical girl, and she's not wrong about this. Homura believes that being good is ultimately futile. She can only protect one thing. Nothing else matters. She has chosen this one thing to be Madoka, but it's revealed in episode 10 that in the original timeline, Madoka was the one that protected Homura. Madoka was a magical girl, along with Mami, and they fought together to protect the world. Homura held a lot of hatred for herself in that timeline, so much so that a witch was able to feed on that negativity, and Homura would have killed herself had Madoka not intervened and saved her. In this timeline, the holes that Mami and Madoka have in the main show are filled. Mami has someone to fight alongside, and Madoka has a purpose that will help others. They are both fulfilled, and they both sacrifice themselves in the end to kill Walpurgisnacht and save Homura. It's practically the best ending for all of them. Homura can't accept Madoka's death, however, her role model, and she vows to save her. In steps Kyubey, the tempter, and back Homura goes to try to save Madoka from her fate. With this new information, it's revealed that Homura isn't necessarily as selfless as we once thought. She's actually way closer to egoistic. Sure, she's doing everything ostensibly for Madoka's sake, but in reality she's doing it for herself, because she cannot let Madoka go. The original Madoka sacrificed herself willingly, but Homura refuses to accept this. Through all these timelines, we see insights into characters like Mami, who as soon as she learns magical girls are the true cause of evil, moves to eradicate them all along with herself. Mami continues to be fully altruistic, to save the most people she can, even if it's a little messed up that she has to kill her friends to do it. There's also a pivotal scene where we see how evil Kyubey truly is, in a timeline where Madoka becomes a witch. Homura sees that the whole Earth is going to be destroyed, and Kyubey dismissively says, "That's humanity's problem now. He's trying to save the entire universe. He don't got time to think about humanity." We see that Madoka always sees the beauty in the world, no matter how dark it gets, and that Homura can now no longer see that beauty, having traveled through countless bad endings. Homura despises the world, and through her repeated actions to save Madoka, has only grown farther from her and her ideals. Kyubey also reveals that in her repeated time loops, Homura has also made Madoka the most important target for the incubators, with the amount of emotional connections around her. No matter what Homura does, she only makes things worse, tying directly into her statement about good intentions leading to the worst outcomes. Like I said with Sayaka, however, I believe that Homura's intentions are not fully altruistic. They have selfish aspects to them that taint the outcome. Madoka is not like this. In every timeline, she is altruistic. Her every action is aimed towards making peace between the various characters, usually unsuccessfully. Her conversations with her parents throughout the show are not filler, they are vital to what is happening. Her dad tells her that the way she lives her life can be fulfilling. It doesn't matter if it's a specific job she wanted or not, it's about her attitude towards it. Her mom tells her that sometimes she will have to do things that other people view as wrong in order to help them, and this definitely applies to her eventual decision to become a magical girl against Homura's wishes. There's a very interesting conversation between the teacher and Madoka's mom, where we learn that Madoka's mom has to learn to let Madoka go, to let her grow up. This echoes what Homura failed to do, to let go. When Madoka leaves the storm shelter to save Homura, her mom stops her and ultimately has to let her go, to let her grow up into the adult that Madoka has wanted to be from the beginning. I view this conversation between Madoka and her mother as the climax of the show, because during it, Madoka reveals that the reason she is going to sacrifice herself for others is because she cares about them. She acknowledges how much those she loves will miss her, but she also knows that she cares enough about them that she has to do this. She isn't sacrificing herself because she has a low opinion of herself, or because she wants gratitude from others, or because she wants anything in return. Crucially, she's sacrificing herself, not others. She simply wants to protect those that she loves. She's sacrificing herself for all the right reasons and none of the bad, and this makes her the ultimate altruist, and indeed, the perfect magical girl. And here, the show loops back in on itself, showing off the beautiful magical girl transformation that Madoka goes through, which is usually the pinnacle, the epitome of a magical girl show. It seems like maybe, in the end, Madoka Magica was a magical girl show after all, basking in all of the frilly costumes and cutesy animations of those shows, but going a step beyond all that and getting to the heart of what makes magical girl shows, well, magical. It's the idea of a protagonist being so fully good that she can be said to be truly altruistic, the ultimate role model that we will never fully reach, though we should aspire to emulate. Madoka is a magical girl, in the fullest form. Her wish saves everyone throughout all history, without trampling on the wishes of anyone else. The magical girls throughout history still get their wishes, with all the benefits and suffering that those entail. Humanity progresses through their sacrifices, and the incubators continue to be able to save the universe. But at the end of every magical girl's life, they are given redemption. They are given hope at the end of a long journey. Madoka is nearly a Christ figure in this moment, a savior to those suffering. She isn't an emotionless savior either. She isn't being utilitarian like Kyubey, saving most at the expense of the few. She takes the time to comfort all of those girls, and she even saves herself. Her wish is constructed in such a way that all magical girls will be saved, which includes Madoka herself. Madoka has found fulfillment in a life selflessly lived for others, and that sort of life doesn't end in pain, it ends in peace. Even Sayaka's wish is respected, allowing Sayaka to see Kyosuke happy once more, and Madoka gives Sayaka a choice. In that moment, Sayaka is able to redeem herself completely, to let Hitomi and Kyosuke be together, and to let go of her selfish desires. Madoka comforts Homura and reassures her that this is what she wants, that Homura doesn't have to worry at all. She is able to remember Madoka in the new world and honor her sacrifice. The wraiths that exist in this world are a much kinder solution than harvesting girls' emotions, and though Kyubey doesn't find this to be the most optimal solution, He is content to live in peace with the humans as long as they help harvest the wraiths. Homura states that she still doesn't view the world as good, but since Madoka does and always will, Homura will fight on to protect it. And in the final moments of the show, we see Homura start to become overwhelmed by all of the suffering, but Madoka comes in and encourages her to keep going.
Do your best.
And Homura takes flight, free of the shackles that previously bound her. Again, I'm 27 years old, and Madoka is a hero to me. She's altruistic in a way that everyone should strive to be. Magical girl shows, as a genre, hint at this human desire, to have heroes that are so wholly good that we can't help but admire them. Each of the magical girls in this show are admirable in their own way. Mami for her selflessness, Sayaka for her very real struggles with her inner darkness, Kyouko for her eventual realization that some things are more important than her own desires, Homura for her dedication to her goal and her acceptance in the end that she has to respect the sacrifices of others and that she can only do her best to honor them. And it's important to note that Madoka isn't altruistic in a cold, detached sense. She is fully self-giving to those whom she loves, those closest to her. And as a result of that love, Madoka extends this view to the whole world as being good and worthy of saving. This is how it is with us. We need to love those closest to us if we are to be fully altruistic. Being truly self-giving to the world at large doesn't work if we aren't loving to those whom we encounter every day. And that's something we can do right now. We don't have to wait for a mystical cat bunny thing. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this analysis of Madoka Magica. Next time, I will be reviewing Sword Art Online. Yes, you heard me right. I will be reviewing what is one of the shallowest animes possibly ever made, but I will be using the books to do it. There is a lot to draw from the books, and this is kind of an attempt to show in the third iteration of this series that any show, no matter how outwardly shallow, has morals that we can take from it and apply. Also, if you haven't seen my Erased video yet, check it out. If you have any comments on what I've said here about Madoka Magica, please comment down below. I feel like there is so much to unpack about Madoka Magica that I think I got a little deeper than scratching the surface, but I still think there's a lot to uncover there. So any comments, I would love to respond to them to talk about the show. Appreciate you guys. As always, see you next time.